Hey everybody, it's your girl Sherry. Welcome back to another episode of Alleged Actually Podcast. You guys, today we are going to do our Bravo Monday on a Tuesday because, honey, flexibility is what we do over here. Unfortunately, I just couldn't get it done yesterday, so we're going to talk Real Housewives of Orange County right now, tonight. But before we get into it, just a few quick admin announcements. If you are new over here, welcome. Over here, we do reality TV recaps, pop culture, and we're just starting to get into some riveting interviews. Y'all, I have a great interview lineup already on the replay. If you haven't seen them yet, please check them out. We have the beautiful ladies from Design Your Wealth Mindset book. Two of the authors have done interviews with me, Morgana Jones and Monica Love. Wonderful interviews. Anything that you need concerning your financial health, education, goals, business ownership, you name it, it's in those interviews, and it's more importantly in the book. So if you haven't yet, get the book. Also, we've got the pleasure of interviewing Mrs. Cynthia Decker from the 90-Day Fiance Pillow Talk show, along with all the other shows on 90 Day Fiance. She was a delight. Wonderful interview. So much, you guys, that you need to check out, finding out what's going on with her. We've had Miss Kim Duhan of Silver Dollar Road. Y'all just go check them out. Some really good interviews and some really good recaps. So if you're into reality TV, pop culture, and good interviews with some good tips or some good riveting banter, you found your home. So I'm going to ask that you go ahead and like this video. And once you like it, go ahead and sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think. Guys, are you watching Real Housewives of Orange County? Because the episode was so good. By the way, if you haven't yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And one more thing, the notification bell, so that when I go live or drop new content, you'll be the first to know. So guys, I'm not going to hold you. We're going to get into that episode. I'm going to tell y'all something. This was season 18, episode 7, The Gloves Are Off. And it was an excellent episode. This time, y'all, we get a chance to finally see Emily and Gina go ahead and just go at it and finally get their issues to the forefront. So we get to see that. You guys, we get to see Shannon talk a little bit more about the whole John Jansen of it all. And Alexis kind of lets us into the videos that her and John Jansen have on Shannon and what is even in those videos. It comes out in this episode along with the sit down with Tamra and Shannon. Y'all, it's a lot to talk about, and we're going to get into it just as soon as we go to this quick little dope intro. Check it out, guys. Okay, guys, without further ado, we're going to get into it right now. So, guys, the episode opens. The ladies are still in their girls' trip. So we have one group in La Quinta and one group over at Big Bear. So the ladies at the La Quinta is over there with Gina, who is allowing the ladies to have a girls' night from one of the homes that she has staged and is selling for a former castmate, Elizabeth Vargas. And over at that trip, we have Gina, Emily, Heather, and Shannon. And then on over there, a little further north, we got the group at Big Bear that is at Tamra's house in Big Bear. So we have Tamra, Gina, Alexis, and Katie. So they're still there for their final day. And it opens up with Gina and Emily in the kitchen. The rest of the ladies are still waking up. Then they go back over to Big Bear, where we have the ladies that are up from the night before. Tamra goes in the room with the chatty Cathys, Jen and Alexis. Child, I think that's more of Alexis that gets that title, Chatty Cathy. Yeah. She could not stop talking throughout the whole episode. And I don't know about you guys, this one and last one, y'all, she, in my Phaedra voice, go away from me, Alexis. Please get off my screen. We are tired of you. We know that you are here to do John Jansen's dirty work. But child, listen, it is overkill. It is a lot. I mean, she is fulfilling her assignment, if you will. Nonetheless, she is very annoying to watch. You guys weigh in the comments and let me know how you feel about Miss Bellino up here being John's cheerleader. And it's a lot. It's just a lot. But anyway, Tamra's in there with Jen and Alexis, and they're talking about what a great time they've had. There's just one thing. They all love Katie, and they got to figure out how to see if they can get Katie and Heather back together, back on track. And Alexis pipes in and says, well, you know, Heather's hard-headed. How do you know, Alexis? Doesn't it kill y'all how she just falls back into the friend group as if she's never left, when in fact she did? And in fact, that Heather and Alexis didn't even get along before. Child, I can't, but if y'all like it, we love it over here. Okay. So anyway, back over at La Quinta, Heather's joined the ladies in the kitchen, and Gina is still bothered by the tension between her and Emily. Because, you know, there's still tension because Emily didn't get her moment. If you remember, Heather kind of hijacked that moment because when Emily tried to bring it up at the dinner the night before, that's when Heather got her chance to pounce in and let Gina know she was not having it with that paparazzi mess and her not having her back against Katie. So there was that. So Emily's still feeling a little unresolved there, and she did not get her big one with Gina just yet, but it's coming. So anyway, back over at Big Bear, the ladies are in the kitchen making breakfast. They've got Alexis on sausage, honey. She's making the sausage. And Jen asked her a very simple question. Is she a Red Bull girl or a coffee girl? Child, she goes on a tangent about, honey, she's possibly premenopausal. She has irregular periods, and it could be stress from her mom. She don't know. It's a mile a minute. Jen brings her back. Now, the question was simply, Red Bull or coffee? Again, in my favorite voice, go away from me, Alexis, please. I can't, you guys. At any rate, Alexis tries to bring it back, and she says, oh, no, that's what I was getting at. I used to love coffee. Now I'm just kind of a Red Bull girl. Nobody cares. So back at La Quinta, they sit down for breakfast, and they talk about what a great time they've had. Heather says, yeah, you know, she thought she would have had a good time at the golf event. Clearly, y'all, Heather is still not over the whole Katie paparazzi thing, and she probably won't get over it. That's Heather. And she said things also went further south at that dinner that Gina was sponsoring at that really nice restaurant, honey. That went all the way left when Tamra decided it was her job to shout in front of all the women that Shannon was an alcoholic and she did not need to have a drink. Yeah, we talked about that last week. If you haven't, go back and check it out, honey. It was a time and a mess. But anyway, Shannon tells them she had zero intentions of bringing her friend group in the mess of John suing her. And she says that, you know, with him saying that she owes him money. And Emily says in the beginning, from an awkward standpoint, it did, you know, and Gina pipes in, make her look bad. And I guess, guys, they're really saying it because Emily says it made her look dishonest about the relationship they had. And that's really largely because Shannon's big thing was the fact that she paid for everything that she was paying for. They said, you know, he didn't pay for plane tickets. He didn't pay for meals. He didn't pay. She was paying. He was all in her bag, all in her pocketbook. And then she says, no, listen, I have the credit card statements and canceled checks to prove it. Like, I've got receipts. I did pay for stuff. Now, guys, I don't know. Did she exaggerate a little bit? Maybe. You know, Shannon's kind of the ultra dramatic one. But Heather in a confessional says that Shannon says that she always paid for everything. Again, like she said, he never paid for a plane ticket for a meal. And the problem is that's what made Shannon so unhappy with the relationship, because from her standpoint was, how are you going to be committed in a relationship to her if you can't even pick up, you know, the bill for a meal? Huh? I don't know. And so Gina says, though, that she knows for a fact that Shannon did pay for a lot of things, and that what she didn't know was perhaps that John had given her this $75,000, and perhaps that was his way of repaying her. And Shannon said, yeah, that was my understanding. But Gina says, we understand that. But then in the confessional, Heather says, that's why it's always best to hear the defense, because you only hear one side. She said, when the prosecution tells the same story, they tell a very good story. And they said Shannon was the prosecution. So, in other words, honey, to hear her tell it, she was like Big Mama. She was taking care of him and he was allowing it. And the truth of the matter is that at least $75,000 he gave to her. Whether it was a loan or whether it was a gift, we don't know. But the fact was, he at least shelled out that amount of money to her. But she gives the ladies an example. She talks about one of the times that Shannon took John's oldest daughter on a trip, and they were in Los Angeles, and she paid for them to stay at the London hotel, and she went all out, and that trip alone cost her about 10 grand. And she said she was doing those kind of things because she just wanted to be kind and generous. And Emily asked her, what was the deal? Like, were you trying to buy his love? And she was like, no. And Gina pipes in and says, oh, look, she was in love. And Heather was kind of like trying to chime in too to make her feel better, saying like, when you're in a relationship, it's like the money's in the same pot. Only that it's not, because if it was in the same pot, he wouldn't be suing her. Now, I love how the ladies are rallying around Shannon, particularly the ones that you would have thought maybe wouldn't have. The ones that you thought would have don't seem to be, such as Miss Tamra. But, I also get the sense that they're kind of just letting Shannon have it with the whole money thing. I don't know. I mean, she seems really out of the frame. And at this point, Heather asked, couldn't you guys do some sort of mediation? And she said, she's already paying for an attorney to handle it. And she's like, well, couldn't you send like some sort of a settlement amount to him to see if he'll take your offer? And she screams, I don't want to. I don't want to. She feels like completely insulted that he's asking her for money. She says it's a slap in the face, and she's not trying to have it. And remember what her dad said on one of the former episodes. He was like, fight till the end. Don't take that. And she's not. And so Shannon is like, no, what we're not going to do is give him an offer. We're going to court and we're fighting. Good on you, Shannon. I mean, listen, I wouldn't willingly hand over money to somebody that's making me look this crazy on this season either. I mean, really? The dude seems really, I don't get the vitriol that he has for Shannon, other than, we're going to get into as we get further in the season. A lot more things are going to come out. We even find out in this episode what exactly was on these videos that he keeps dangling over her head. And y'all, we're going to get into how I feel about that because I'm not here for it. I mean, it's like, why? And I understand that according to Alexis, and we'll get there too, y'all, so I'm jumping a little bit, but the fact that the things that Shannon said about John is ruining his relationship in the community of Orange County. Okay. But two things can be true. That was Shannon's experience, or could have been. And so maybe John wasn't a good guy to her or for her. That's her truth. And so, to then, in fact, use videos to hang over her head because she's out there telling her truth or her side. I'm not here for it, guys. What are y'all thinking? Throw something out in them comments, honey, and let me know what you think. Are you guys feeling the fact that he is, I wouldn't even say, you know what? I'd go as far as to say there is a little bit of extortion going on here. It may not be for money, but it's basically like you either talk nice about me or, I'm going to release these. And so, y'all, I don't know how y'all feel, but I'm feeling like that's a bit much. So anyways, at this point, the ladies rally around her and say they're really sorry she's going through it all. And Shannon breaks down and says, this has all been really hard for her and very overwhelming. And the fact that they're being so kind to her is just overwhelming her in a good way with lots of love. And she's really appreciative of how the ladies have stuck by her and have supported her. And she said, it's been different for her because typically in a time like this, she would have confided in Tamra. But we all see that that's not going to happen on this season. And Tamra has shown herself to not only not be a friend, but God, to be more like an enemy, y'all. So at this point, they get ready to play pickleball. So first up is Emily and Gina. And honey, they get on that court and they're trying to figure out pickleball and they're having a hard time. But, that's when Gina gets in the confessional and says, Emily goes to the gym all the time, but clearly working out all the time does not equate or athleticism. So there was some shade thrown over there by her good friend Gina. Yeah. Remember I told y'all Janae was back out again. Her and her, I don't know, y'all. She seems very, very unself-aware on this season so far. And I was a Gina fan, but I am not feeling Gina one bit, y'all. Not this season. Gina is just giving, I really don't care about how I make others feel, and it's all about me vibes. Y'all, let me know how you feel in the comments. What are y'all seeing? They basically do this is a quick little flashover back over at Big Bear when they talk about how they're trying to help Jen set up an OnlyFans. They're kind of rehashing their trip back at Big Bear. Y'all, they have killed that. I am so sick of them talking about Jen being broke. Y'all, it's enough already. Clearly, she's not that broke, honey, because she keeps y'all talking about what she's got and her not looking broke. And as long as she's with Ryan, he got her. So, y'all mad or not? At any rate, so back still over at Big Bear, Jen talks to the ladies. They're coming together, sitting in the room, and they're talking about, she's sharing with them about her co-parenting issues with her ex, Will. And we come to find out that her ex has been with one of her former friends, Laura, who was her interior designer, for 3 years. That was a messy breakup. I mean, from what we found out when Jen first joined the scene, that her and Ryan actually had an affair on her husband. But then we come to find that the husband then takes up with one of her good friends that used to be her interior designer. Y'all, that's messy, messy, messy. I don't know. But Jen decides that, when she first found out, she was devastated. But then it's like she came to her senses and said, no, this is someone that I love. Child. And she's more evolved than me. I mean, if this lady was your interior designer, all up in your house, designing and putting things together, making them all nice and stuff, and then when your man, she not only goes out with them, but she really starts up a life. I mean, they're together. And of course, the ladies are like, okay. She was like, I wish we could co-parent better. They tell her that on Instagram, they saw where they had a family dinner with him and the kids, with Laura, the former friend, or I guess, honey, she misses her friendship. So I don't know. But she says, no, I haven't seen it because I'm blocked. And good old Tamra decides to take the phone and show her said video, just to dig that knife just a little bit deeper. And it does upset Jen. And she says, watching him in that video showed her his, larger than life persona, that he wasn't like that with her. And she said that it was, hard to see him look so happy. And, they asked her, was it hard for her to see that picture with herself kind of cut out of it? And of course it is, y'all. I mean, look, it's never easy when you divorce. It's never easy to see your ex move on, particularly when they hijack your kids and, not hijack, I guess that's a bad choice of words, but even when you're done and moved on, it certainly can be challenging to see your children in a family atmosphere with, whomever your ex has moved on with. Particularly in her situation, this is somebody that she knew, that she considered a friend. Maybe a little betrayal there, but again, from what they said when Jen first got on the scene, her and Ryan obviously weren't on the up and up on their relationship either. So there's that. So that's Tamra's cue to come in again about her relationship with her daughter. Now, we do know that she's got Sophia. I think it's her daughter, Sydney, that's living with her, but Sophia is still not speaking to her. And she saw her at a graduation and she thought that they had made great strides. And then when she reached out to her again, crickets. So she still has a daughter that she's estranged from. And you would think, y'all, that considering the stuff that she's gone through and that we've watched her go through, I mean, a child that has not spoken to her in years, that is heartbreaking. And for her to be so nasty and so low down to Shannon in one of her lower moments, or the way she treated Jen on last season, it just speaks volumes to the kind of evil person that she is, y'all. I'm sorry, Tamra fans out there, but Tamra is really showing herself on this season, and it's not in a good light. I don't know about you, but I'd love to see her be put on pause again. But honey, we'll talk about that. At any rate, we're going to go back on over to La Quinta, where Gina and Emily are getting ready to play pickleball. Child, it was never about the pickleball. It was finally time for Emily to let Gina know what time it was and why she was so mad. Because Gina she just didn't get it. She clearly could tell when Emily's mad. They've been friends for a long time. And according to the both of them, they're best friends, which is the fight was stupid, y'all, but I'm gonna give you the gist of it. The fact of the matter was Emily lets her know that she did not appreciate her talking about her behind her back. And Gina says, in the same breath, you've also said that I follow behind Heather. I let Heather, manipulate me. And Emily's like, well, you do. And, case in point, the way you were all in love with Katie until, Heather decided that she didn't want anything to do with her, then you were ready to throw Katie away. Which we all saw that happening right before our eyes. She's not lying. And in the same breath, when Gina's like, well, okay, but you have become extremely mean. You've become a horrible mean girl since you've been hanging closer with Tamra. And you've got Tamra, almost like who can be the bigger bitch, me or you? And it's high five to the moon. When reality is, she's like, that's not my friend. I don't like to see you like that. So I'm going to say on the fight, and it was stupid, honey. It goes on and on. Well, you did this, you did that. Well, you think Heather, you run behind Heather. Well, you run behind Tamra. It was very middle school, very childish. At the end of the day, though, they kiss and make up. Shannon and Heather can overhear them because they get a little heated because when Gina gets confronted, she goes loud and she wants to be, animated, and she tries to walk away, but she can't get in the house because she can't figure out how to get into this nice big mansion that she's selling. At any rate, they do make up because at the end of the day, guys, they are friends. And so both of them have kind of agreed that, each one of them maybe had a point, and what was most important was their friendship. So they do hug and they do make up. And so therefore, and there was a kind of cute moment with Emily in confessional, though, when she did talk about how she could imagine how it went down. She wasn't there with Gina and Heather. And it was this whole mafia thing where Heather's walking in and you see Heather's ring, kind of like a kiss the ring situation, where she says Gina falls to her feet and says she's so sorry. And basically Heather doesn't accept her apology. And it's like a shoe go away situation. But that was cute. So I'll give Emily that because sometimes her banter, her jokes don't land. They're dry. They're more of a Shane-ish type thing, and her meanness comes across as her trying too hard. That's more of a Tamra thing. We haven't seen Emily come off like that nasty. So I don't know. That confessional, I'll give Emily that one. That was cute, very clever. So basically, we get past their fight, and we go back over to Big Bear, and Tamara brings Jen a Diet Coke. And at this point, they're packing up and they're getting ready to go home. And so Katie and Alexis are talking because they're cleaning up, getting ready to go. And basically, Alexis asks Katie, can they talk? And she says, of course. And basically, Alexis decides it's her job to talk to Katie about how her and Heather can make amends. And she said that Heather's her dear friend. And she says she knows that Heather's hard-headed. But since Alexis really, really likes Katie, she just doesn't want to see them, not be friends. And so then there's a flashback back at the golf event. She's like, I don't think it might have been in your best interest to laugh. So when they flash back, and I was like, okay. So the moment when basically Heather was saying, After the paparazzi confrontation, now what? It's all done with. And she goes around the room. She's like, now what? And then basically Katie laughs. And then at that point, Heather's like, enjoy the Dom Perignon I brought. And she's about to go. I think it was more of a nervous laugh. I mean, she had confronted everybody standing around. And, Heather's very, how shall we say, no nonsense. When she's reading someone, she's like, okay, it's a wrap. Nobody believes you. Everybody thinks it was a joke. It's dumb. I think she just kind of laughed, maybe just out of being uncomfortable. But child, Alexis says that she takes things way too serious, meaning Heather. And then Katie in confessional says if her and Heather can get past everything because she's the innocent one in this, then of course she'll do that. And Katie agrees to apologize. And basically she tells her, if you're going to apologize, you got to mean it in your eyes. Because if you don't mean it in your eyes, Heather's going to see it and she'll know you're not sincere. Y'all, how ridiculous is that? I mean, I love me some Heather Dubrow, but they take things too far. Again, I feel like we're going right back to middle school. Excuse me? Make sure you can say it with your eyes because she'll know. Ain't that stupid? At any rate, child. So at this point, Katie's like, honey, it's whatever. If it means that she can get past the angst and they can be friends because they're going to be in the same friend group, she says, whatever. And then she says maybe her and Tamra can have a kumbaya moment and get everyone back together. That's rich because you're a friend of. You're not even a housewife. And quite frankly, I'm pretty sure you're one and done, Alexis. But every moment you can try to shine, you try, but it just lands flat. It gets dumber and you get dumber by the scene. And I feel dumber watching you. At any rate, I digress. Tamra and Jen talk. And Jen says she's so happy about where her and Tamra are as friends. And she says she sees what she's doing with Shannon. And Tamra's like, what do you mean? What does she mean, Tamra? Could she mean the fact that you have been nothing but cruel to the poor woman? Could she mean that when you could have been there for her in some capacity, you instead just want to keep kicking her when she's down? Could she mean that you horribly embarrassed her at dinner in front of everybody, calling her an alcoholic, calling her out about her drinking, calling her out about ordering a cocktail that night, despite the fact that her and Vicky had car service? I mean, at any rate, Jen says, you go on the attack. Tamra interrupts and says when she doesn't feel like, she says she doesn't feel like she attacked Shannon. But you do, sweetie. We've all seen you do it. So they flash back to Gina's dinner and her, in fact, attacking Shannon. And Tamra says she wants to help her, but she just doesn't know how to help her. And she's just really frustrated. And again, like I've said before, I get that. I get the fact that if Shannon had confided in her for 10 years, and that's per Shannon as well, 10 years of someone, confiding in you and you listening and you offering your advice, maybe even you see them spiraling in a bit. And then when the big spiral happens, you're hoping that might be the moment that they, wake up. But if it's not, it certainly isn't the way to get your friend on board to get help by to shame them and to treat them the way that she has treated her in that friend group. It's been deplorable. And to me, it says a whole lot more about her than it does about Shannon. And y'all, quiet as it's kept, I truly believe that was Tamra's way or her storyline because she really thought that people would be so disgusted with Shannon they would hop on her bandwagon. When in fact, it's the opposite. I am not a Shannon fan. But on this season, I have got to rock with Shannon. I am not feeling how Tamra has been treating her at all, y'all. It is terrible. Listen, anybody's one bad decision for making a mistake. And the fact that she's been brave enough to come back on the show, brave enough, honey, or need the job, whatever it is, but to have to hold her head up high, not only to face everybody with the DUI, to come back and film, but then to have to film with Alexis Bellino, who is constantly throwing her ex-boyfriend in her face. Y'all, it's a lot. So I have new respect for Shannon. So whereas I was not the biggest Shannon fan because I found her to be over dramatic sometimes, a little very spirally, very insufferable at times. But watching her this season, I have to give her props, honey. It takes a strong woman to walk through that. It takes a strong woman to, pay Alexis dust like she does. I mean, it's Alexis that's pressed about Shannon. Shannon is not pressed, honey. What you hear her talking about is John Jansen asking her for her money. See, she's worried about her coin. She's not worried about you, Alexis. You should try it. Okay. But anyway, Jen says, if this is family and someone you love, then maybe you owe her a hard conversation lovingly. And that was the key word for Jen. I like Jen. I know that everybody wants to hop on the Jen's broke bandwagon, but Jen seems like a really nice person. And, I think her biggest downfall may be the fact that she's attached herself to Ryan because they are bound and determined, y'all, to expose this man for whatever he does, honey. We'll get into that too on another episode. But, word on the street allegedly is that he's a big bookie, and gambling is his thing. Child, I don't know. She don't even know where he gets his money. So I'm not going to say it's not true. It is definitely allegedly. But trust and believe those ladies will not rest until they expose Ryan. So for now, Jen, you're safe. While they can keep, poking fun of you for being broke. But if you keep on letting Ryan lace you with nice gifts and things, honey, it's just a matter of time. Just saying. You heard it here first. At any rate, Jen says she knows she may not be where she wants her to be, but she is definitely doing better. And Tamra says that all she can hope for is that. And then at this point, they get ready to leave. Back over at La Quinta, Heather and Shannon join Emily and Gina as they're trying to make up. And Heather says she just doesn't understand Gina. And she's fighting with Emily. She's coming after her. She's like, I don't know who this Gina is. Child, that's the Janae I was talking about. That Gina that she doesn't know who is, I don't either, y'all. This season is just not Gina's best life. I mean, everything from her relationship with Travis that she's kind of thrown away because it no longer suits her since she's now a big real estate agent and she doesn't need his support anymore. Everything to her talking, about Emily. And even, let's throw in there the fact that, she pretty much set Katie up to come for Heather. And then when Heather didn't like it, she jumps back on Heather's bandwagon. Y'all, it's a lot. Gina is tripping. Gina, Janae, whoever you are, ma'am, you are really, really showing yourself this season. It is not a good look. And y'all, can we talk about that confessional look? Listen, she did a TikTok. She had a little fun with it. It wasn't her best look, but they just keep showing it. And I'm like, Gina, sis, everything from the hair to the outfit. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. But see, that's what you get. That's what you get, honey. Because like my girl Nene says, you can't win when you play dirty. So you up here acting all crazy. So you're going to get this crazy confessional look on every episode. We're going to keep seeing you look crazy. Because you are not being your good, genuine self this time. You are a hot mess, Miss Gina. So anyway, they all get ready to leave. And right before they go out the door, Shannon has to do one last spill. But at least it's just water, guys. Gina, I think, has learned her lesson about having girls' night at homes that she's trying to sell. Okay. So back at Big Bear, y'all, Alexis in tears saying, what is Shannon doing now? Child, she's on the phone with Johnny J. And she's up there cutting up. I mean, what? I mean, all the dramatics. Child, she starts crying. And Katie's asked her, is it about the legal stuff? Alexis says she can hear it in Johnny's voice. And she says Shannon gets so blacked out drunk, she doesn't remember what she does or says. And in a confessional, a producer asked Shannon what was specifically said to warrant, the producer asked Alexis what was specifically said by John that warrants the gloves coming off. And she says that she's not at liberty to say, and that she has now pushed John to the limit. And that's a question that everybody's going to have to ask John. So, of course, she's talking about the infamous videos that John is now ready to release because Shannon has done something so unforgivable. Now, my thoughts of what he said, I believe it has something to do with the lawsuit. I believe that her attorney has got something on him, or honey, she's fighting back. Doesn't come out exactly what he found out and what he said on the phone to Alexis, but at this point, she keeps saying over and over, the gloves are off. Hence the title of the episode, honey. They are ready to release that video. And y'all, you know what's kind of crazy? And, she keeps saying that, this is going to ruin Shannon. And Shannon doesn't seem to even have a real recollection of the video. Maybe she just doesn't know that he has it. But it comes out that the video is actually and this comes out with Emily and Katie, and I'll get to it. But that the video itself is actually of Shannon the night of the DUI over at the house. It was filmed on his Ring camera where she allegedly tried to run over one of his daughters. Y'all, I don't know. Honey, at this point, like I said, she said that there's a scene from a future episode where Shannon's crying that John Jansen is a monster. So I'm going to take that as the fact that, y'all, that we're going to see that he actually does, in fact, release those videos this season. But I don't know. Those were in the foreshadowing, clips of future episodes. But Shannon, at this point, doesn't know what video or what they're even talking about. So Alexis is up there fake crying, child, saying that Shannon's a piece of ish. Child, whatever. So now everybody's back home. And Tamra goes over to visit Gina. Y'all, let me tell you this scene. This is quick. I'm going to just give y'all a down and dirty real quick, the literal dirty. So Tamra comes over to visit Gina. Gina, now that Travis has gone, is getting ready to do construction on the home. She's going to do a whole renovation. She has moved all the kids into her room. And she basically has moved all the kids, and she's got Tamra there to show her what she's doing. But did y'all catch the fact when she went to the kids' room, child, them babies had rolled all over that wall. Listen, I was like, ma'am, did you guys not? I mean, watch out for the kids. I mean, I know they're going to do a paint job or whatever, but I mean, literally all over the walls. Hey, Catherine G. She said that she does not think the video will be released. She feels we have seen it, that we would have seen it by now if it was. You know what, Catherine G? That's a good thought. They would have definitely leaked it had that been out yet. So you're probably right. So we're probably not going to get a chance to actually see the videos, but they're definitely going to be talking about it in some future ones. And yes, ma'am, Catherine G, all over the wall. I mean, those kids went to town. So it's like, were y'all watching your babies? I'm just saying. And Gina's all over the place. When Tamara's like, okay, so, when she says where the kids sleeping, she was like, well, they're all in my room. And now I'm on the couch. And seems like she wants to step into this role now of being Big Gina. I'm the real estate agent. I got my life together now. I'm one of the girls. But it still seems like she's struggling. Even with the renovation, girl, you can do things in stages. Listen, at any rate, we go back over now. We have Emily and Katie, and they're meeting at a cute little candy shop, y'all. And they bring their boys. Now, this was a cute moment. So Katie has her little boy, and Emily has her sons, and they get to meet. And Katie has now decided that basically she has fallen in love with Orange County. So at this point, she has decided the OC is where she wants to make home. She loves it. She loves the fact that her son is getting a chance to meet Emily's boys, and she gets a chance to catch Emily up on the trip, and Emily does the same. And so basically she was saying that they had a good time. They did a lot of laughing, and Emily said, same with them. They had a good time as well. They talked a lot. They had a lot of fun. And then she said, but then there was a drama piece too. And of course, Katie wants to know what happened. So Emily shares about Gina versus Heather. She was like, okay, yeah, so maybe Heather's not over it. No, Heather's not over it. She's not. Hey, Sandy B. She says Alexis and Johnny are massively thirsty. Child, are they not? And y'all, is it just me? Or have y'all noticed Alexis is really trying to embody Shannon? Did y'all see her with the whole pick me, Lexi, who's more fun than Lexi, and the laugh? I mean, listen, it's giving goofy and it's giving I'm pressed and it's giving I want to be Shannon so bad. Y'all, even down to the dog. Alexis is, when she was on before, I didn't care for her. But this Alexis, y'all, the thirst is real. And John, who didn't want to be in the public eye, I can't tell. Because he keeps sending Alexis out there to do his dirty work. But on every scene, have we not heard John Jansen or Johnny J? So, there was a little agenda going on there. So, I agree. And, oh, yes, Captain G agrees. She says, yes, honey, Shannon is trying to be, or Alexis is trying to be Shannon 2.0. I agree. It's just too much, and it could have worked if it seemed like their relationship was genuine and, there's going to be the drama piece. But y'all, it don't even seem like it's a genuine relationship. She acts like this is her first boyfriend and she's 16 years old. It's very, very stupid. It's really stupid. It's actually very much an insult to our intellect. But, she's here to bring the drama. And look, we're here to let it. So Emily goes on and tells her about, like I said, Gina and Heather. And Gina, Katie's like, I used to think Gina's a girl's girl, but, maybe she's a girl's girl, just not for me. So it seems like, y'all, Katie has finally come to peace with the fact that it's not her and Gina, that perhaps she was actually set up. Hey, Sandy V, she says, Jesus Jugs needs to crawl back under the rock she came from, in my opinion. Honey, your opinion is popular. I agree. She definitely does. Y'all, she is a terrible ad. I'm sorry. Like, when I first heard Alexis was coming on, I was like, okay, I can see how this is going to be some good drama. But y'all, she is hard to watch. It's too much. It's too much. And, it would be something if their dialogue together, Shannon was worried about her money. Alexis, you can have Johnny J. Nobody cares. It's a lot. It's a lot. So, honey, Tamra is now talking to Gina some more about Big Bear, and she says that Alexis was a lot, that she wouldn't shut up. That's that whole thirsty thing we were just talking about. And she says that Gina says Alexis is very Shannon focused, and that's what we've been talking about. Whenever she's in the room, and she said, I just want to ask you, was it still like that? The fact that Shannon wasn't there, was she still so laser focused? And the resounding answer was yes. Anytime she could, and then had the nerve to tell them not to bring up the S word. Alexis, ma'am, that's all you do. It's a lot. It's too much. It really is. So Tamra says that she knows that for the most part she wasn't, but she had her moments. She kept coming in there with it. She talked about Johnny J all the time, and with the Johnny J, she has to throw in the Shannon stuff. So Gina says she knows it's a very sensitive topic, so Tamra's going to get hit with this question again, but she says Shannon was very vulnerable on the trip, and that, they put their walls down and they really accepted her, and they're not angry with her like she is. And Tamra asked Gina if she drank there. Y'all, dang. It's like Tamra can't give her a break. Gina admits that she did, and Tamra says because she loves to drink. Y'all, she just can't get off it. And like I said, the delivery would be better if it was truly coming from a loving place, but it is just with so much vitriol. And honey, Tamra Judge is not foreign from a drink. Y'all, we've seen her get plastered on those episodes. So it's really rich coming from her. I mean, sincerely, she loves to throw in her face that DUI, but Tamra, you were one wrong decision from getting your own. So I think it's so lowbrow of her to keep hitting this woman when she's down. And I don't know what she thought she was going to accomplish, but again, what she's accomplishing is getting most hated of the season. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I'm in a lot of the chat groups, and honey, She has been known as Tamra. Y'all, people are tearing her up. So she was on Watch What Happens Live. Every poll was in Shannon's favor. So, honey, Tamra, you did not get what you thought you were going to get out of this. It's a no. It is a no. Yes, yes, Sandy B. Tamrat is the ultimate mean girl. She is, y'all. She is. And I mean, to the point where it's sickening. Like, it's not even, like, it's hard to watch it. The scene at the dinner when she kept calling her an alcoholic and oh, y'all, my mouth dropped open. Because now listen, we watch it and we want the drama and all of that, but what we don't want is to see someone I mean, we just saw them as friends. They were the Trace Amigas. And for her to turn on her so quick, it's so filthy and dirty, y'all. And I'm telling you, and I've said this before, bravo. I'm telling you, I am just waiting. And I don't want it to happen, but they keep pushing these women to the point that, someone is going to, I don't know, y'all. It concerns me. It concerns me that the lengths that they let them go for these storylines. I think it's too much. I really, really do. So, out of all that, Tamara says because she was talking about how she loves to drink, and that she even tries to make Gina say that Gina says she didn't have a drinking problem. She was like, I drink and you drink, but you didn't have a drinking problem, but you're not an alcoholic. And Gina said, no, she did have a drinking problem. And Tamara was like, you did? Gina said, yes, she had a drinking problem and that it got more control of her than what she could have of it, which is the epitome of someone when you have an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. And the fact that Gina, fessed up and said that, I was here for it. Okay, Gina, so you got me in that moment. The fact that you were transparent and let her know that things got out of hand and that, Gina does not consider herself an alcoholic, but she had some dark days and she was leaning more into alcohol then. But in confessional, she said that, she continued to drink after her DUI as well because she felt like a loser. And, so if you want someone to change or you want to see someone do better, what you don't do is keep throwing salt in an open wound. What you don't do is openly shame and embarrass them like that. I mean, that has never helped anyone, never. And so the fact that she's doing it, like I said, I find it very irresponsible of Bravo to let these ladies go as far as they go. I mean, your mental health is important, and you can see Shannon struggling. I will say that she's holding her own this season, though, guys, and I'm here for it. I am totally, totally, totally here for it. So at this point, I think Tamra is finally understanding that enough of the women are getting her to see that Shannon is trying, Shannon is vulnerable, and Tamra needs to sit down and have a talk with her. And so Tamra agrees to do so, and she invites Shannon to dinner. But y'all, did y'all catch that tea when she said that she thought that Shannon should have reached out to her and asked to meet her? There was another jaw-dropping moment. I'm telling you, y'all, what narcissistic, I simply can't. I simply can't. She says Shannon should have reached out to her. At any rate, on the way over, she contacts Jen and lets her know she's going over there. Shannon, Shannon contacts Heather on the way over and lets her know that she's going to meet with Tamra. So guys, if anybody had hope, they come in and Shannon comes on at the table, sits down, nice. They speak, and Tamra even gives her a compliment because Shannon's looking very apprehensive. And Tamra starts with, I know this is difficult for you, but she was thinking, again, that she would have been the one to reach out to her. And Shannon's like, wow, me reach out to you? Especially after all you've done was defame me. And Tamra's like, defaming you? She's like, I didn't say anything that was a lie. And Shannon says, yes, you did. Tamra makes a grimace and says, mocking Shannon, no, she didn't. Oh, isn't that childish? Did you see her? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. And then that's when Shannon was like, are you okay? Because what she's trying her best to do, and what I am so happy that Shannon is not giving her, y'all, is her spiral moments. Just like she did in the restaurant, the crying woman, when she throws the plate and she gets up and she storms out. That's what Tamra's trying to pull out of her, and Shannon isn't giving it to her. Now, she does get up, so I'll get to that. And she said that you keep saying you're drunk, you need to sober up. And you know nothing about me, is what Shannon says. And she was like, Tamra, you've been defaming me for 8 weeks. And she says, I know everything about you. This is Tamra about Shannon. I know how you move. I know what makes you tick. I know everything. So again, y'all, if she knew everything about Shannon, she knew her so well, then she would know that the way she's treating her isn't helping her at all. And if the true end game was to help your girl stop drinking or to realize that she has a problem, you wouldn't go about it that way. That's a self-serving way of you trying to make yourself look better by pushing her down, by stealing the spotlight, by being the villain. Ma'am, it's going to blow up in your face. Y'all, mark my words. Mark my words, honey. I think Tamra's going back on pause. Same to be, I like it. Shayna needs to tell Tamra to go scratch elsewhere. Amen, because it couldn't have been me. It couldn't have been me at that table. Listen, Shannon calmly says to her, I'm focusing on being healthy. And Tamra says, okay, so you don't drink anymore? See? She just keeps pushing and picking. And Shannon says, pretty much I'll have 2 drinks. And she's like, I don't think I drink over 2. Now, y'all, I'm not going to say, listen, the woman is still having a drink, whatever. She's not hiding it, but Tamra is still pushing and prodding and just trying her best to shame this woman. And Tamra asks her, so you don't think you have a drinking problem? Again, coming out of Tamra's mouth, y'all, really? I could see Gina and Shannon having a real heart-to-heart, talking about, hey, for me, this was my experience. I kind of felt like I had to step back from alcohol, or, somebody that would come from a loving place, somebody that's been there, or somebody that acknowledges that in a dark moment they had an issue. Not someone like Tamra. At any rate, Shannon says, I'm very aware of it. And she said, I'm trying to continue. I'm still continuing. Tamra interrupts her and says, very aware of what? And Shannon says that she used alcohol, and she used it excessively when she went through some darker periods of her life. Bravo, Shannon. That's a good way of saying it. Look, I acknowledge that when I was going through, I leaned a little heavy on alcohol. I acknowledge that. That's not what she wanted, y'all. That's not what she wanted. And she says, if it gets to the point that alcohol is an issue with me, then I'll look at it. But so far, and then Tamra interrupts her again, and she says, but don't think sneaking alcohol is an issue. You don't think sneaking out alcohol is an issue. And she's referring to the time that apparently they had gone out one night, because this is her in the confessional talking about it. She tells Jen they went out to dinner, and Shannon whispered to, I think it was a hairstylist that was with them, to go get her a drink, to order her a drink, and she was going to pour down her Diet Coke. And Tamra says, okay, so that was that one time. And Shannon says, look, I've already seen you also in some compromising situations. And then Tamra rolls her eyes, and Shannon says, so don't focus on me. And Tamra says, I've never drove my car into anyone's house. Okay, that's all she's got, y'all. Touche, Tamra. Come up with something else. That's your friend, though, Shannon. That's when Shannon gets up and says she needs a minute. And y'all, she breaks the fourth wall because she's at producer saying, look, go get my purse. I need a moment. And Tamra's sitting there looking as stupid as she is. And she's like, what's going on? Is she coming back? And she's rolling her eyes, not caring, because y'all, that's a lot. That's a lot. The woman came and sat down to break bread with her, to try to see if they could maybe mend fences. And she's still right there drawing blood. So Tamra asked if she's coming. They just told her a lie and said she had to use the bathroom. When in fact, she was in the restroom, but she was taking her a breather, a moment, collecting herself, which I'm here for. I'm here for. So Catherine G says, in what world would Shannon feel comfortable saying she wanted a drink in front of Tamra with the way she's acting? Exactly. 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 And that's what Tamra was hoping, that she might slip and do it. Or, child, she was waiting, trying to bait her, trying to shame her. I agree. I agree. That was her story, trying to expose her, saying, oh no, you had someone, try to sneak you a drink. Yeah, so that you could go back and talk about it, which is in fact what you did do. So Shannon says she knows that what she did, and she doesn't need Tamra to decide her fate in confessional. She basically says how Tamra is the epitome of kicking someone when they're down. The low blows, she goes for the jugular, and Shannon says she's lucky that she doesn't do that. And Tamra knows that's not Shannon's character, right? Because Shannon knows some things. She said she could go there if she wanted, and y'all, she could. All those times hanging out with Tamra, and the cameras weren't rolling all the time. And I'm quite sure Shannon has some dirt on Tamra. It's just that Shannon's a lot classier. Sadly, honey, if it was me and she kept on, I would have to I'd let her have it. I would have to expose her, but Shannon's a class act, y'all. She comes back and she apologizes for leaving. I would not. And she's learning that that's what she has to do when something upsets her. She gets up and she takes a breath. She tells Tamra that she feels like she's digging herself out of a hole, and Tamra is one of the people trying to push her back in there. She tells her she wants what she's doing now is focusing on herself. And Tamra says, well, you should. Well, she is. She is, Tamra. And she said that she kept a very small circle of friends around her, and that she has been met with such an outpour of support, and that she's never had that much support in her life. Which, of course, the martyr, the narcissist, Tamra says, oh, so the 10 years that I listened to you, every issue that you had, that you confided in me, that wasn't showing you support. And she says that, she's really been there for her. And what she just said, that statement was hurtful. And Shannon said, for once, Tamra is calm. Well, calm, if you will, for the moment. And she said she realized how off the rails she was the night at the dinner. This is Tamra. And, she asked her, did she realize how off the rails she was at dinner? This is Shannon asking Tamra. And Alexis making up those allegations towards her. And she was like, stick in your lane, Tamra. And Tamra repeats, backing up Alexis, oh, about the money you owe John. Y'all, there she goes again. Catherine G, I'm with you. I want Shannon to go low with Tamra too. I want her to eat her up. I want her to expose her for the train wreck that she truly is. Sadly, I don't think we're going to get that. But I don't know, honey. If she keeps poking the bear, we may see it. So basically, she said, she does not owe John Jansen any money. She never signed a promissory note. And that she has to relive the stupid mistake by having to go to court with him now. That's not what she planned. Finally, she's like, and you would think Tamra of all should know how it feels. And Tamra asked if he's suing her, as if she didn't know. Now, y'all, was that not the most inauthentic moment? Is he suing you? Girl, Alexis is your new BFF. You know that man is suing her. Anywho, she pretends like she doesn't know, and Shannon tells her yes. So apparently, y'all, that was the blow that softens Tamra's icy heart. And she says that she didn't realize that she was suing Shannon. And that she says she's sorry. And then Shannon cries and says, after I paid for everything. And he's basically, said she did offer him something. And he was like, you know what? Pay me the full $75,000 or they're going to file on Friday. So she's like, I'm not going through 3 years of hell again. And she says she's not giving him $75,000. And she's like, how dare he? And Tamra talks about the lawsuit that they were both involved in with Jim Bellino, and that it was against her and Shannon. And she admits it was very hard. And so that way she does feel for Shannon. And so she comes around and she says she can't imagine having to go through that again. So Tamra says that she's having a party on Wednesday and she'd like it if her and Vicky come. And Shannon is like, really? And Tamara's like, yeah. And then Shannon's like, I feel like I need to give you a hug. And she gets up and she hugs her. And Tamara's like, I really do love you and I want the best for you. And then Tamara goes, I really do love her. And she's like, I know you're heartbroken. And she doesn't want to make things worse. So she apologized for hurting her at Gina's party. And Shannon apologizes to her as well. And they laugh and joke about being two hot-headed blondes. Y'all, listen, that's how it ends. But let me just say this. Shannon is crazy to trust Tamara, okay? I set out a poll because I always like to see after the episode airs what my actualizers are feeling. And the question was, do y'all believe this was Tamara really extending an olive branch? And 89% of you said absolutely not. Honey, the ones that believe it, y'all, check the episodes again. Are y'all watching the same show I'm watching? Listen, y'all, it is not only not an olive branch. I guarantee you this party that she will have Shannon set up again. And I don't know. She shouldn't trust her. But that's how the episodes ended. Guys, thanks for being here and chatting with me. It's been a lot of fun. We're just going to have to tune in on next week and find out what happens. I know I'll be there and I'll be back on Monday to recap. So you guys come on back with me and let's talk about some more things. Real Housewives of Orange County. And guys, if you would, come on back on Wednesday where I'll be recapping 90 Day Fiancé the Other Way with my guest co-host Big Nige. And then Friday, we're going to have a wrap-up session on 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After, the tell-all. I have yet to weigh in on that, but I'm going to give you everything that I've been thinking, witnessing, and the tea that's out there on the Happily Ever After cast. And I'll be joined by my co-host Bria, who will tell you guys where she's been at. So guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Catherine G. Thank you, Sandy V. Thank you, ladies, for chatting with me. And all of you guys, have a great night. I'll see you on Wednesday night, guys. Take care.